you become a speaker? Why did you choose to become a speaker?
It's an interesting question. I'll tell you why. I hated public speaking for as long as I can remember. At school, I always got incredibly nervous, really ill when I had to do, speeches. And not that long ago, in my workplace, I was invited to do a public speaking course, and I became so nervous that I'd have to speak in front of people that I phoned in sick that day.
Wow.
And that's where I came from. And looking back, I wish I'd done that course now, knowing that I was a speaker and, I would value it. So I never had the desire or the dream, or it was never in me to be a public speaker. It was just something that was so far from where I thought I would end up. But it's like it's inside of me, and there's stuff, there's words, there's things inside of me that need to come out, that need to be shared. And I can't quite remember exactly when I would say that I started to see myself as a public speaker, but I remember the day that I dealt with it and accepted it. I had to go up to do a talk in front of about 120 delegates. And I went through my usual stage fright and feeling nauseous and just thinking, you're such a fraud, you're such a phony, why are you doing this? What do you know? They're going to judge you, they're going to hate you. And I had all these thoughts. And I specifically remember this moment where I said, wait a minute, you wrote this talk. The words came from inside of you. So surely you can deliver it. It's not like, you're delivering something you don't know. And I gave myself a good talking to, and I said, you can do this. And I've done that ever since. I only, speak about things that I'm really passionate about, that I could speak about if I lost my notes. Mm-hmm. And that served me well, because I have lost my notes on occasion. And then I started to realize that what I have to say serves the audience. It's not about me, and if they like me and if they care about me, they're not judging me. What I have to say is to serve them and to help them. And if I do a good job, then I maybe have helped a few people. And once I got those few things sorted out, the bug had bitten, and I was like, now I can't speak enough. Now that I've got my mindset sorted out and understand that I do have something of value and I can help people, and it's not about me, it's about them. Now I'll speak anywhere, anytime, just give me a platform and I'll do the job. So I can't say that I chose to be a speaker. Just it was there all along. I think it's what I'm meant to do.
And what do you think it brings to you?
To me? I like helping people. And if I just get one person afterwards, just one person saying that helped them, I'm okay, I've done a good job. Sometimes I used to feel so put off when everybody was just eyeballing me and their eyes were glazed over, until I realized that was a good sign, because actually I'm saying something that's worth thinking about and they're thinking about it. And that's also when I learned the value of white space. Give people pauses in between things so they've got time to reflect on it. But I think I just enjoy it, and that's why I want to make a career out of it and not just do it, free speaking at networking events, but actually get really good conferences booked and share on the biggest possible stages across the world.
Sounds like you found a purpose in this.
I think so, yes. I think it's what I was meant to do with my life.
And has that changed in the last year with COVID? And do you think that's going to change in the next year? Is there anything that you think you're going to do differently?
I think it's changed significantly. The first change was 2020, I started getting really good bookings, and I was really excited because I was finally getting to the place where I wanted to get to and reaching the audience I wanted to reach. And then all my bookings cancelled, all of them, when COVID hit. That was it. It was just gone, and everything I was working towards was just gone. And it was disappointing. But long story, which I'm not going to go into, but because of COVID and because of everything that was happening in the world, it actually gave me an opportunity to step back and have a rest and do things differently. And that's been the best opportunity ever. And so it's also helped me find my love again for training and, doing video work. I do an awful lot of video work, and I was doing a lot of traveling and a lot of speaking at events, but because of COVID, I've had to go back to video work and training, and actually remembered how much I enjoy it. And so it has changed things, but I do want to get back to, big conferences in person. In person is very important to me. I like that, that personal touch. But at the same time, I've learned that I need to use video more, do online speaking, to whoever, wherever. The key positive is that it's opened the world up for me. I don't like flying. I don't like traveling. And so I've always said I only speak in the UK. I've always said, unless it's a really good, first class ticket and it's not scary, then I'll travel. But I've kept myself contained in the UK. And I feel like now that I understand that a lot of people are going to have video conferences, it's opened the whole world up, to the point that I've actually opened my mind up, saying, you know what, you can fly a few places, you're not going to die. Because it's not a fear. I don't have a fear of flying. I just don't like flying, So it's actually changed me in that regard, that if I get some good bookings, I will travel pretty much anywhere. And that's a huge change, actually.
Not minding to travel now. Do you think part of that is maybe a need to connect and
yes,
in society?
Yes, I think so. I think I've realized that there is a huge difference between doing video and just being in the room with people. And yes, definitely. I think we all need that connection, don't we? There's something special about it, and we all need that.
I think one of the things that came to me in the last few years is I'm starting to look at hormones and how hormones are triggered and how that influences our behavior and team dynamics, because that's my sort of specialty, is team dynamics and team integration and relationships. And we're seeing that need. People really need that need for connection, and part of that's that feedback loop that we get to know what others think of us as well. And when we look at a little screen like this, you can't really see people's facial features that well. And so it becomes really tiring after a while. So I know, I get the feeling, I miss being at a conference and giving somebody a hug. And they're like, I haven't seen you in a year. I haven't seen you in 2 years, so.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it is, I get tired from doing video calls. I don't know what it is, but it is draining. I do find I get more fatigued from doing that than an in-person event.
I've seen some people put up really big screens. I mean, Tom Slichting here in the Netherlands does that. He's set up his whole studio, so it's a really big screen that he can look at, and he can actually see people's faces a bit bigger.
Oh, that's a good idea.
That's stressful, right? And then there's this, what's this guy, DSLR video shooter. That's his YouTube channel. And what he's created is a little video desk where he puts a teleprompter in front of him, and the screen underneath that is connected to his computer. So the Zoom people or people that he talks to will show up on the teleprompter. So he keeps on looking at straight at the camera, so he doesn't get distracted by things around him. And
that's brilliant,
that it focuses on the person speaking. So you can get that as well. I think there's the types of things we will need to learn to be able to survive, because I don't think COVID's going to go away anytime soon, unfortunately.
No, it won't. And also, the world has changed. We're not going to ditch everything we've gained and learned in this time. I think we're going to use it a lot more. I definitely won't have as many face-to-face meetings as I did. I still will have them, but there's a lot I can achieve a lot more if I have Zoom meetings. And so for some types of meetings, I might just say, let's just Zoom it first. We can always meet later. So even though I'd prefer not to, I think it will make me a lot more efficient in my work and save me a lot of time. Another thing that opportunity is, I think, taking what we have and maximizing its potential. So instead of doing a talk, we can now do a talk with some additional videos, training videos off the back of an element of our talk, or I'm releasing a book soon, and off the back of that, I'm going to be releasing an entire training course and some short videos. And so I think it just makes us think a lot more creatively. How can we take what we have and just do more with it and get it out there? Because to be honest, everyone's online now. They have to be. So the competition now is fierce. We can't just do what we used to do. We have to be better. How do we be better? And it's really making everybody up their game. If they want to be noticed, if they want their business to stand out, or if they want to stand out as a speaker, what makes them different? Because now everybody's online. So we have to be more creative. We have to think differently, think outside the box. And I know I'm certainly doing things differently. But also from the event organizer's point of view, I don't think we should be less valued now as speakers because it's online. Whereas before, you'd get paid less or not paid at all for doing online talk. But if you went to the physical event, you'd get paid. Now it's a case of, well, the talk is valuable, whether it's in person or online. And that never used to be the case as much. And so I think event organizers also have to realize that, you know, the value's still there, whether we're delivering digitally or whether we're meeting in person. So that's interesting as well. You know, you could have 10 speakers on the same topic and they'll all be completely different.
Yes.
There's value in our stories, there's value in our personality, there's so much that we bring that's unique to us.
Yeah.
And that's what they're paying for. You know, you could have somebody deliver every word identical to the words I've written down on my notes and deliver it terribly, or have no passion for the topic, or deliver it better than me. You know, the point is that, you know, we bring a whole package. We bring a lot of value. It's not just the topic and the content, but it's our stories and our journey and our pain and our struggle and our successes and our passion for the topic and how it's impacted us. And there's so much. And I've realized that sometimes maybe we as speakers take ourselves for granted, even not realizing that it's that personal stuff. It's that story and your own experiences that you add to your topic that actually make people interested. They buy into it, and then they can hear the content that you're delivering. And
Yep.
it's like a Hollywood movie. If we do it right, we can really get people gripped, you know. And so, yeah.
Now, if you look at your journey as a speaker, in what way did other speakers help you?
I think I remember the first time I had the thought that I wanted to do that was a lady speaking. And I don't know, she just brought something. She just did a quick 5-minute thing before the main keynote came on. And I just looked at her and thought, I want to do that, or I could do that, or something like that. And since that day until now, I do watch speakers and I try learn. I try learn what I like and what I don't like. It's personal preference. I try learn from everybody that I see speaking. Looking at other people's reaction as well to them. So I'm always trying to learn and to improve. At the same time, I think doing actual speaking training with them. I've done a couple of speaker training courses. I think it's important to really work on your craft, you know, to take what you're doing seriously and be improving all the time. And then just, you know, personal relationships. I run a lot of events, so I deal with a lot of speakers. At my events, I host a lot of speakers, and just so getting to know them and just learning. For example, with COVID and going online, I wasn't prepared at all. But one of the speakers that I'm friends with, he said, well, you know what? There's a lot of events out there that are just going online and they're still looking for speakers and they still have their speaker fees in place. So you need to just keep approaching them. And little things like that, you know, it's not only learning about the practical side of speaking, but how to get out there, how to get online, how to approach event organizers. I'm always learning from speakers. You know, if it's not one thing, it's another. Well, at the moment, my immediate focus is I've got a book launch coming up, and I've decided to actually do a good job with this for a change, because usually I write a book, I launch it, so then I move into the next thing, and I don't actually give it the attention it needs. Books aren't just about writing, they're about marketing and promoting. And so this time I've got a wonderful editor who's going to be pushing me as well. We're going to spend a year going on book tour. So all my talks going forward will be around, as far as possible, around this concept, which I'll tell you about in a bit. And then I'm looking at doing resources off the back of the book, so having short PDF downloads and training videos and little spin-offs. So I'm really going to take this book and actually do something with it, because to be honest, I really feel that this book can help people in so many ways. All my books, I believe, help people, but I'm really passionate about this one, and I don't want to just put it on Amazon and walk away and hope for the best. So I'm really focused on that this coming year. As well as I've taken my UK business and put it on the global platform. Again, COVID opportunity, we realized that we can do what we're doing in the UK anywhere in the world now, because all of our events had to go online. So we can do that anywhere. We're not limited by, country borders. And so that's been a huge focus, is now breaking into other countries and learning how to expand a very strong British brand to now a global brand. And that's been really fun. So the book is called Stop Running to the Well. Mm-hmm. And it's all about, you'll actually appreciate the story. The first chapter is a story about, how in this African village, a water contract was issued, and one person ran to the well with a bucket, got the water, brought it back, delivered it to the community, ran back to the well, got the water back to the community, and delivered water by running to the well. And the second person who got the contract just disappeared, and nobody saw him for a month or so. And he came back with a pipeline. And it's the whole concept of automating everything in your business that you can automate. And that also goes for speakers and their, the way they manage their speaking career, because essentially being a speaker is running a business. That is your business. And so I'm really excited. That's what I'm going to be sharing at the summit as well. And really about how we can automate the things that we do repeatedly, so that we can free up our time to take care of those things that need our personal attention, the things where we need time to maybe one-on-one talk with the client, or serve a client, or whatever it is we're doing in our businesses, or when we're out there. The automation frees us up to do that, but also it gives us a quality control, because everything is being done consistently the same, because it's automated. And I automate anything and everything. I always say to my team, if you're doing it repeatedly, it should be automated. And then it frees us up to offer that really customized personal service. The things that can't be automated, then we can really give it our best shot. Exactly what I've just said. If people don't come to my talk, you could be doing things that could be automated. You could be wasting a lot of time doing the small things and missing out on the big thing, because the small things, they eat away at your time. The small things, there's lots of them, hundreds of emails, for example. How many of us can cope with our email inbox? Well, if you use my systems for automation, you can have less emails and more time to focus on maybe crafting your talk. Again, your marketing, you can automate a lot of the marketing, so you start attracting the right people to you, getting the right bookings, getting the right clients, automating the admin processes behind the booking. There's so much we can do, and then we're left free to maybe study more. How many of us have time to really study our topic and become a real expert, or spend time with our clients and build a genuine relationship? So I'm all big on focusing on the big things and automating everything else. I think any question that you're being asked repeatedly and that you manually responding to, if it's on social media, if it's on email, whatever it is, why don't you come up with a really good standard response and automate it? So particular questions will trigger particular response, and you need to know the technology in order to do that. Chatbots, CRMs, there's really good technology out there that once you know how to automate, you can quickly either program it yourself or pay an expert to program it for you. So look at the things that eat up most of your time. I'm pretty sure if you sat down and recorded every 10 minutes what you've done, at the end of the week, you'd say you've hemorrhaged about 80% of your time, and you've only really used 20% of your time effectively. Now, if you automate these things that fall into the 80% category, imagine if you were using 80% of your time effectively. I'd like to say 100%, but we know that that's probably not real. But the point is, if you sat down for a week and every 10 minutes just jotted a quick note what you did, you'll be horrified at how your time is hemorrhaging. And I always say, time is the most valuable thing we've got. We can make money, we can lose money, but time, once it's gone, it's gone. And so automation is key in maximizing our time and our efficiency. I've been spending a lot more time with my team this year, a lot more. And already, it's only what, February, early February? The change in our team, we're becoming a family. Sorry for the fluffy word, but
Yeah.
we're becoming a family. We're really connecting in a way that we have never connected before. And I've been quite invisible, and I feel really bad realizing now, but that's another reason I need to automate the stuff that's taking me away from my team so I can spend more time with my team. And honestly, I feel like we're connecting on a family level. I even said to them the other day, you know, family, you don't change your family. If things are tough, you stick it out, you figure it out. You know, family is the strongest bond we can have. But if we're not family, if we haven't got each other's back, if we're just in this for a quick win and then we're going to change jobs or whatever, you know, we're going to behave differently and treat each other differently. And so my message to them was, you know, this is our business family. And I said, don't use the word publicly because it's a bit fluffy, but since I've said that, it's like, no, let's own it, you know. And so family requires investment and time. But the key thing for me is I never felt confident in business. Again, too long for this interview to tell you why, until one day my husband said to me, he said, you're just the mom. You know, you're just the mom and you're taking care of your children, in inverted commas. And that helped me so much because I have 4 children and I love being a mom and I could relate to that. And so when he said, just be the mom, I'm like, I can do that. And that stayed with me. So even with my team, I'm like, you know, I just have to nurture in the way I nurture my own children and bring out the best in them and spend time with them. And so I'm definitely, you hit the nail on the head, and that's something that I'm committed to for myself and my team going forward. You can't replace it. You can't replace the time that you invest in people.
And
Sorry, I went off on one there, but you really got me.
No, but I think it's important. I mean, pre-COVID, there was a study that was brought out that teams that perform well, the best performing teams had minimum 4 to 6 hours of management face time every week.
Wow. But one of the things that I've noticed people are doing a lot nowadays, they are putting out good lead magnets, attracting people to their database and putting them in the database, and then putting them into email sequences, and then you get a ton of emails. But there's no follow-up, there's no relationship. So the initial content is good, and then it's very much like shotgun marketing, you know, just put as many things out there as possible and 1 or 2 people will sign up. And it's a pity, because if we did less of that and did more quality, and then once people did respond, because if people are responding to your lead magnets, your content, they're obviously likely to be your ideal client because that's what they need, and then get in touch with them and build a, you know, more of a personal relationship. So I'm hugely about automation, but then taking it down and getting to know the person. In fact, I was just training my team today on using our system, showing them how to segment their data and then get in touch with people based on interests or based on, you know, in our case, it was small businesses or corporate employed women or female business owners. So it was a case of get in touch with them and find out what's relevant to them. You're not going to sell a business plan template, or you're not going to send a business plan template to the corporate executive, for example. But if you are using automation to attract all these thousands of leads, and then you're just pushing out all of this generic content and generic emails, and you might get 1 or 2, but actually you're missing like 99%. And so I was teaching my team just this before you and I got on this call. I was teaching them how to, yes, we attract the data, And I even said to them, it's data at that stage, then you segment it and they become people.
Yeah.
And, and that's what we want to do. We want to get data. We need lots of it because the competition at the moment is fierce, and everybody's free stuff that they're putting out there is actually really good quality. Like, I could train myself in any particular topic with all the free lead magnets out there at the moment and get a high quality training.
Yeah.
So the competition is fierce.
Yeah.
So you attract all of that data, but then after that, you've got to get it down to the point where you feel like you're talking to people.
Yeah.
So in our case, there was an example of, segment it down to maybe stay-at-home moms. They're working from home with their children. And then you can talk to them as moms staying home with their children. And then you segment your database down to women who are career women, very ambitious career women who are trying to build their career. Then they're not data anymore. Then you're talking to them as people. Yeah. And so I was teaching the team today how to, yes, we need to get the data, but then we need to segment it effectively and start speaking to the people. And then the people will feel like you're speaking to them and you get them. You're not just one of a million. And so I actually came up with it on the spot by differentiating between data and people, and I quite like it. I'm going to use it. Yeah. And then your customers will stay. They will stay longer because you've got that relationship. And again, like I say, family, you're not just going to give up on your family. But, and I think building those deeper relationships is the way forward now. But now with the way that businesses are dealing with it now, it's just numbers. And so they're disposable. It's like, oh, well, we lost that one. We'll win a new one. It's just data. And I want us to get back, certainly my team, to get back to personal. It starts data, they're just a number, but then we get to connect with them and the person. And that's really important.
I think so too.
And that's how it used to be. Before we got so busy, before we got online, it was, go door to door to sell, or, have somebody over for a cup of tea to sell. There wasn't this thousands, you had to get thousands of leads. It was like if you spoke to 5 people in a day, you did a good job, and because it was about having those conversations and nattering and I'd love us to get back to that. I just don't see how, because the competitors aren't going to. But if everybody could just slow down, calm down, I'd like to get to know a few of you, please. Feel that anybody who needed mentoring, because one of my services is business mentoring, I would mentor them. Until one day I was becoming so drained by this one client that I thought I hated mentoring and I had to stop mentoring. When I realized I did stop mentoring for a while, then I mentored somebody else and loved it again. So I thought, what's going on? And I realized exactly what you've just said. I don't have to mentor everyone. I can vet my potential clients and decide if it's going to be a good fit or not. And maybe, now I have a team of mentors, which is fantastic. So I can now refer people to the best fit, because you have to have that connection, don't you? And mentoring, it can be very deep. It can be very personal. You need to have a good connection with the person. And so, I can see that, in my own journey, how I realized I don't have to accept everyone as a client. I can't say no. My top tip for any speaker would always be, just be yourself. Don't feel like you need to be like any other speaker or any other person. The best speakers are always the speakers who are just being authentic on the stage, whatever that means. I listened to Eckhart Tolle. Have you heard Eckhart Tolle?
Sounds familiar.
He's a philosopher. He's a very wise man. And I'm a very red personality type. I like bullet points. I like, things direct, no fluff, and I have very little patience for waffle and fluff, right? And so if a speaker's on stage and he has a bit of a drone and is a bit boring, I get a bit agitated, like, get to the point, what are you trying to say? It's bad. I'm not saying that's a good thing. I'm saying that's one of my negatives. However, this man, if you watch him speak, he does everything that I would judge as a whatever, speaker, coach, whatever. I would say, I would never recommend anybody does this. Yet, that's his true self. He's authentic and I can watch him for hours, but he's the exception. He sits down on a chair, on a rug, every time he does a talk. Now, I would never advise somebody to do that. And he speaks incredibly slowly, past what I would usually have patience for. Yet I hang on to his every word. And I tell you, that man is authentic to the core. And because he's authentic, something about it means I don't get annoyed by his method. Whereas if anybody else spoke like that, I would be incredibly annoyed by their method. I'm like, stand up, have some respect for your people, you know. And so, but if you're really being yourself as a speaker, if that's really who you are, people will buy into that. It's authentic. And it doesn't matter that you're breaking the mold and not following the speaking rules. Sometimes we can try too hard to be the molded speaker. You know, there's like this rubber mold, and every speaker has to do that. Every speaker, actually, I've done a lot of speaker training. I've taken what works for me, and the rest I've said, I just doesn't work for me. It doesn't feel authentic to me. So that's just one thing I wanted to add, because I felt very passionate about it and wanted to share.